I have a habit of doodling a bunch of what seems like nonsense on my notebooks, but I find it very useful in helping me focus. Sometimes if I focus too much on the task at hand, especially when I'm writing computer code, the ideas don't really come that readily. Sometimes if I just forget about the computer for a little bit and doodle something on paper, sometimes it helps things come into better focus if I step away a little bit. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not very well received. When I was going to college part-time, believe it or not, I was 14 years old at the time. One day I just couldn't focus on my homework. My mind was wandering far, far away from the classroom. I was thinking about various classmates and how I wanted to start a few conversations with my classmates. I used to have a junk food addiction. I was living with my parents, obviously. I was thinking about how I was going to convince my parents to buy all the junk food that I wanted, because that seemed like the most important thing in the world at the moment, right? I was thinking about just very stupid shit, right? I used to love to watch reality TV. I love Survivor. I started watching Survivor at the very first season, actually. And there was a girl on the first season that I liked, and I wanted her to win badly, and she ended up doing okay. She ended up starring in a movie instead, so that's alright. And my mind was just racing millions of miles away from the classroom. I couldn't focus. And so we had a textbook that was about that thick. And I opened the cover of the textbook, and I wrote in big letters in that textbook, "Stop!" And I depicted it on one of my recent doodles, actually. And so I was trying to tell myself to stop thinking about all that shit and focus in class. But my classmate who was sitting next to me thought I had gone crazy. And he wanted nothing to do with me. He stood up and left the area, if I remember correctly. And I was embarrassed out of my mind. And I told my mom about this, and she encouraged me to go up to my classmate and apologize and explain to him why I had written stop so that he would understand. I didn't realize it at the time, but I have high-functioning autism. I wasn't diagnosed until years after that incident. But now it all made sense, and now I allow myself to doodle all I want because I know it's helpful. Obviously, got to pay attention when I do it in public because sometimes, like with the classmate, it gets misunderstood. Fortunately, well, I'm recording this in 2020. I can doodle all I want and nobody... I can even doodle in the middle of a Zoom meeting, right? Nobody can see my desk from the angle of my laptop. And so it's all good, right? I can't really do that when I'm at my boss's office, right? Sometimes I can pretend to take notes and then doodle on the side, but even then, that's a little bit more tricky than doing it over Zoom, right? So I'm really enjoying the time being. I want to show some of my recent doodles. That's the Chinese word for scamming somebody, actually. I had gotten scammed on Amazon a few days ago. Somebody altered the shipping address, and I would be buying stuff and it got sent to somebody else. And I got pretty frustrated, and I wrote scam in Chinese. Single lives matter. Stay 6 feet apart or go 6 feet under. I don't know why that catchphrase. I love it so much. I don't think they really use it in any of the PSAs because they don't want to scare children away from the advice, obviously. Single lives matter. SLM. SD for singles discrimination. I think I was sitting in a Starbucks that day and I didn't have the nerve to write down single lives matter, singles discrimination, so I wrote acronyms instead. I think later when I got out of the Starbucks, I wrote it out. Single lives matter. Well, I doodled some game pieces for one of the games that I'm writing. Blocus, I think. No. This one is Domineering, where you place dominoes on the board. Okay, that's just game-related stuff. This is all technical stuff. Anyway, well, that's all the doodles in this book. But sometimes I doodle a lot more than the actual notes. When I was going to college, when I was working on my PhD, a typical notebook would be 60 to 70% doodles, believe it or not. I would doodle about what I had planned to say to a girl that I liked. I had doodled about, I used to have a fear of flying, but I would daydream about one day flying somewhere, and I would doodle maps of flight paths, right, from Rochester to, where did I want to go in the past? Japan. I was fascinated with Japan for a very long time. I wanted to go there to look for my future wife. And then one year I watched Kelly Clarkson compete on World Idol, and there was a girl from Poland there that I liked. And so for a long time I was fascinated with Poland. I talked about in the last video, I don't want to do any of that anymore. I love my single life more than any girl possible in the world. But that was my main motivator for getting over my fear of flying, to meet all these attractive girls from other countries, believe it or not. And I still didn't get over my fear of flying until my second year at my PhD program, when I got into a very rotten relationship here in the United States. And I'm like, that's it. I got to go somewhere else to try my luck elsewhere. And that's when I got over my fear of flying. But for a very long time, flying was a very abstract concept for me. It was something I wanted to do someday. Okay, what else have I doodled? You get the idea. I allow myself to doodle all I want. In fact, I kind of encourage myself to doodle now, because it opens my mind when I'm kind of half focused on what I need to do. It was kind of stupid for me to write stop. I should have allowed myself to draw out all the stuff that I was thinking about. I think I got a B in that course. I probably would have gotten an A had I allowed myself to do that.